The following is a news and public affairs presentation of West Virginia Public Broadcasting. This week in West Virginia, the voters have chosen a governor to replace now Senator Joe Manchin. The Secretary of State tells us what's next. A southern West Virginia group is helping kids harmed by their parents' drug abuse. And we'll meet a Morgantown area rap artist whose career is on the rise. This week in West Virginia. Good evening, I'm John Hingsbergen. Following Tuesday's special election, acting Governor Earl Ray Tomblin became Governor-elect Earl Ray Tomblin. He'll be keeping the job he's been doing for almost a year now, at least until next year's general election. Clark Davis has more on election night with Tomblin's supporters.
Tomblin won what became a close race over Morgantown businessman Bill Maloney by a margin of 50 to 47%. As Senate President, Tomblin became acting governor last fall, when then-Governor Joe Manchin was elected to replace the late Senator Robert C. Byrd. Tuesday's victory keeps Tomblin in the governor's mansion through next year's regular election.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's result is proof that West Virginians appreciate ideas, they value experience, and they want our state to continue to move forward.
The night was filled with optimism about Tomblin's ability to hold on to the office. Supporters like Gary Burke from Charleston were at Tomblin's election watch party at the Marriott in downtown Charleston.
With his experience, his capabilities, he's the man to lead West Virginia forward. Right now, West Virginia's in the top 4 of the United States. I want to keep it that way. A man that's got that much experience with state government will make a whole lot better leader than a man that's probably not been in the state capitol more than 3 or 4 times in his life.
Tomblin spokesman Chris Stadelman says the campaign was confident all along, even when polling numbers showed the race was tightening.
We always knew it was going to be a close race. There's been an enormous amount of interest. There's been a lot of money spent on advertising, a lot of messaging out there, and so we're not surprised that it's close, and still hope that and expect it really to come down to the turnout.
Going into Tuesday, Tomblin knew the race was tight. He says what people told him was that they wanted to make sure that he put the state first.
I've always tried to do what is best for all of West Virginia, from the northern and eastern panhandles to the Ohio River to the southern coal fields. We have geographic differences, but we're united by our desires to move our state forward and make it all that it can be.
The governor-elect says things won't change much in the year ahead.
We all came together to tell the outside groups that no one is going to tell us what to do in West Virginia. We may be open for business, but ladies and gentlemen, West Virginia is not for sale.
Tomblin hopes the same voters will come out and support him in his run next year. For West Virginia Public Broadcasting, I'm Clark Davis in Charleston.
Morgantown businessman Bill Maloney finished just short by about 3 percentage points in his bid to become West Virginia's governor. Ben Adduccio reports on Maloney's campaign and what's next for the Republican.
For Bill Maloney, it was a roller coaster ride of a campaign. Earlier this year, he came from behind to defeat several challengers in the Republican primary. In April, polling showed Maloney was more than 30 points behind acting Governor Earl Ray Tomblin. But this Monday, a public policy polling poll had him trailing by only 1 point.
We got in this race, our campaign team, they couldn't even fit in a phone booth. It was amazing, but we had 0 name ID, 0 traction, 0 chance, and according to the experts, but we had faith, we had drive, and most importantly, we had all your support. Although the race didn't work out as we hoped, we're proud of all that we've accomplished. Thank you.
It was the first time Maloney had ever run for political office. He spent his entire life in the private sector, working as a co-founder and executive for drilling companies. So how does he feel about his first campaign experience?
It's energizing. It's different. You don't have a lot of time for much of anything but driving and talking, and you lose your voice. The begging for money part, I wish that was different, but it's a very energizing thing. It's what America's all about, and we enjoyed it.
Several hundred people crowded a ballroom at the Waterfront Place Hotel in Morgantown to watch the election results. Many left with tears in their eyes. Fairmont resident and Maloney supporter Charles Hilberry is hoping this election helps the party gain some momentum heading into the next.
As a citizen, as a conservative, I'm disappointed. Would have been nice to see Bill Maloney win the governorship. Of course, it's an unexpired term for 14 months, but I think it would have given a good opportunity to see what a conservative in the executive for the state of West Virginia could have done, and look forward to the general election in 2012.
Next fall, West Virginia voters will go to the polls yet again to vote for governor. Does Maloney want to be on the ballot?
No, I'm not thinking that far ahead. No. A lot of people like to have all these theories. I'm just thinking about what happened here tonight and reflect on it tomorrow and move ahead.
It's been 15 years since a Republican won the governor's race in West Virginia. For West Virginia Public Broadcasting, I'm Beneduccio in Morgantown.
Just ahead, a review of the election with West Virginia's Secretary of State. First, a news update from This Week in West Virginia.
I'm Beneduccio with the Week in Review, October 7th, 2011. The city of Morgantown hosted the state's first West Virginia Oil and Gas Expo this week. The event, held Wednesday, was designed to give vendors and attendees a chance to meet and discuss the oil and natural gas industry in the state.
It's important for the industry because a lot of these small companies have a chance to come here, show what they can do to the people that have potentially hire them.
Energize West Virginia was formed about 4 years ago. It's a nonprofit alliance, and we try to gain statewide understanding of the natural gas industry. Part of that, we just partnered with ANGA, America's Natural Gas Alliance, a national organization, and we're going out all across West Virginia into communities, talking to them about what's happening in the natural gas industry.
Organizers are striving to educate West Virginians about the industry. West Virginia is located in the Marcellus Shale natural gas reserves, which is at the center of attention and controversy in the state. The United States Department of Agriculture this week announced some new grants that will be given to West Virginia. The state will receive two $7,500 grants. The money will go to healthcare infrastructure projects in McDowell and Clay counties. But the amount of money is significantly less than West Virginia received from the USDA in August. At that time, the USDA provided nearly $170,000 for the Mountain State. In the 2010 fiscal year, West Virginia received more than $77 million from the USDA. The nonprofit organization Main Street Morgantown launched a new mobile web application to inform the community about businesses in the city. Anyone with a QR code reader and a smartphone can access the app. It's designed to keep citizens up to date with events in Morgantown. Along with events, the app provides information about businesses in the community and how people can get involved in volunteering for organizations in Morgantown. The organization held a launch reception for the application last week. Jefferson County residents are one step closer this week to getting a new hospital. West Virginia University Hospital East has acquired 50 acres of land near Charlestown for a new medical campus. According to a press release, the campus will include a wellness center, urgent care, patient and community health education facility, and a medical library. The hospital will replace the existing facility in Ranson, which opened in 1975. And the longtime athletic director and baseball coach at the University of Charleston died this week. Tom Nozica had served as the baseball coach since 1969, one of the longest-serving tenures in NCAA Division II athletics. He won more than 600 games as coach. He was also the school's athletics director and was scheduled to step down from that position at the end of the year. He was 69 years old. I'm Beneduccio, and that's what's happening this week in West Virginia. In a moment, we'll hear from the West Virginia Secretary of State on what's next after this week's special election.
Want to find out more about our locally produced programs? Visit us online at wvpubcast.org.
anthrax.
Another anthrax case.
We could narrow the investigation to a very rare strain of anthrax.
There were really two sides of Dr. Ivins.
A scientist that's gone rabid.
7 years, millions of dollars.
They brag they got their man.
He killed himself before we could get to him.
Where's the smoking gun? Where's the proof?
If Dr. Ivins wasn't the perpetrator, that person is still out there.
The Anthrax Files. Join us Tuesday at 9.
We just got these magnets made for the van, and it says, you know, this is the letter B. What begins with the letter B? We pulled into Little Bear Daycare this morning, and this little boy came running across the yard and saying, you know, Clifford is here, Clifford is here. I knew it was happening, that he saw Big Bird on the van. And right there, that made, you know, Ready to Learn. That's what it's all about. It's all about the kids.
The voters have now spoken in this year's special election for governor. Secretary of State Natalie Tennant says Governor-elect Earl Ray Tomblin must take office as governor before November 15th at noon. That's a year from when now Senator Joe Manchin stepped down. Before that can happen, the Secretary of State's office will canvass West Virginia's 55 counties to determine the official election results. Secretary of State Tennant tells Adam Cavalier she wanted to keep the process as transparent as possible.
I'm an open person, and it probably comes from being a former reporter as well. But open and engaging government has been the cornerstone, has been the rock that we put this administration on. And just transparency and accountability comes along with that. And I think it's important to include people in their government, and you can do that through transparency. Because I feel if someone understands their government and feels not so intimidated by it, that they're going to be more apt to be involved with it. So we show that from start to finish, the good and the bad. It's important to show folks what is taking place.
You're in a bit of an odd position with this special election because you ran for the post of governor just a stone's throw away on the calendar. How did you maintain a position of objectivity as a Democrat with a Democrat running for governor?
It is a unique situation where you have that person who is an elected official, who is also the chief election official who oversees the process. And so for me, it was a unique situation because I had run for governor in the primary election back in May and had pledged my support, win or lose, to the person who was the Democratic nominee. And I made sure that I kept my word for that. So I had that aspect. I wanted to show my child that I was a good sport also, and that you stand by your word when you say you will do something.
Voter turnout, you had more than 300,000 people come to the polls on Election Day, 25% of the state votes. How does that rank in terms of a special election?
It ranks pretty well for a special election, especially better than the two previous special elections that we've had over the last couple of months. So 25%, probably higher than most folks expected. I'm not as happy with it because it is only 25%. I think that over the last 17 months, we've been able to show the high standards that we have for West Virginia and for elections. We have been asked to have 5 elections in 17 months.
What does the future hold for you?
I will run in 2012 and hope to be reelected to Secretary of State and do another good job for the next 4 years. And if a governorship or something else is available, I'm going to look at that because it's not me who decides, it's really the people who decide.
Some West Virginia children are suffering at the hands of what's being called a prescription drug abuse epidemic. Children in one county are going without food because their parents spend their money on drugs and alcohol. Jessica Lilly reports an organization in southern West Virginia is working to help those children.
You know, there's children that are going to school without shoes. There's children that are going to school with no food.
Some residents in Oceana say the streets are living up to the nickname Oxyana. Lifetime resident and now Westside Pharmacy owner Devonna West says she's seen drugs ruin many lives in her town.
children that are going to school that the only meals that they get are what's at school. Well, the reason being is because maybe their funding from the states or their funding from their parents' paydays, etc., are not going to take, the family needs.
But addictive drugs such as OxyContin or methadone are not the only prescriptions causing problems in southern West Virginia.